you guys are talking about this good envelope. What specifically goes into making a good envelope for a building? What would be a bad envelope versus a good envelope?
A good envelope is it's well insulated. It's very airtight, and it's glazed well. The studies that have been done, all the ones I'm aware of, have concluded that it is way more sustainable to preserve an existing building, because there's so much embodied energy in an existing structure that to tear it down and then start over again, I mean, it's not just the tearing down, it's transporting the material somewhere else to dispose of it. There's a lot of end-of-life issues, building life issues with the demo process. Every year, 1% to 2% of the buildings are new, and everything else is existing. And if we're trying to make a drop in the bucket on, as a society, making our society more energy efficient, it's got to start. It really has to flow through the existing buildings more than the new buildings, or at least as much as the new buildings.
Obviously, the trees are a big part of the story, but I mean, the site is interesting because I mean it's a small site, a difficult site for the number of beds that Lewis Clark you guys wanted to put in. So the size of the building, is big for that area of the site. So that, posed some challenges to try to make the most efficient building we can, as Mike said. We save money on just material and efficiencies by building, the right size buildings and then the right layouts on buildings. But a couple of other things that I think we spent a lot of time on. We did a lot of life cycle costing in terms of mechanical systems. Originally, there was some intent to potentially take the project to a LEED Platinum. And we did a lot of work on what are the cost benefits and the paybacks on a lot of systems, and determined that at the end of the day, reaching the LEED Gold was the best use of the dollar. So some things we really evaluated, and again it goes back to the envelope, but we used 2x8 walls with blown-in insulation, which have a really good R value on that exterior wall assembly. We ended up putting window switches in, which the window switches are tied to the heaters and the thermostat, so if the windows are open, it automatically turns off the heat, so we're not wasting a lot of energy. So those are two of the really, I think, good energy efficient things that go in hand with kind of what Mike was talking about in regards to the envelope. So, and then once we did that, we again found that the amount of heat we needed to provide to the building was pretty minimal. So we're curious as to how the building's going to perform, but it's got a really good envelope, so we're expecting some pretty good things in terms of performance on it. I think sometimes the professionals look down upon a little bit, but it's a very challenging line of work, but it's very rewarding. We do a lot of good things for the community, and it's a challenging profession. And I think if you want to be challenged and you want to learn every day, it's a good profession to go into.
So to preserve the structure and upgrade almost inevitably would lead to a more sustainable solution.